today we're going to do some vocabulary words on the food chain and the food web. We're gonna talk about each word. You'll have the word. I need you to copy the definition in your journal. Try to replicate the picture if you can, or maybe make up your own picture, some kind of image that will help you remember what each word means. And if you have any questions, just ask me. We'll get to it. Okay, our first word for today is bacteria. And bacteria is a one-celled organism with no nucleus. It is the tiniest, smallest form of life you can find. All right, so it's just one cell. I know you don't really probably understand a lot what that means, but our bodies are made up of millions and millions and millions of cells. Bacteria has just one tiny cell, all right, and it has no nucleus. So I'm not going to get into the weeds of what all that means. You just need to know that it has one cell and no nucleus. Okay. Our second word for today is carnivore. And a carnivore is an animal that eats other animals for food. Any animal that has meat. Okay, so meat eats meat. Humans eat meat. Tigers eat meat. Any animal that eats meat. Okay, that is your carnivore. Here's a couple pictures over here that you can look at or draw your own or whatever you need to help you remember what a carnivore is. But a carnivore is just an organism that eats meat. Okay? Our third word is herbivore. And herbivore is any organism that just eats another plant for food. So, for instance, cows. Cows eat grass. They would be herbivores. They don't eat meat. Okay, a cow is not going to go chase down a chicken and eat a chicken. No, he's going to eat the grass or hay. Or horses are herbivores. Any animal that eats grass or anything that's not meat. Okay, those are your herbivores. Your fourth word today is omnivore, and that is any animal that eats both meat and plants. Okay, humans are omnivores. Humans eat meat, chicken. Today for lunch we had chicken nuggets and mashed potatoes and gravy. Well, the chicken is a meat. And the mashed potatoes come from the ground, a plant. And so therefore we are omnivores. What we ate today was a very omnivorous lunch. So make sure you get your definition, and here's a picture of an omnivore. Me. Our next word is compost. And compost just means dead or decaying plant matter broken down by decomposers to provide nutrients for plants. So a compost, in our windowsill, we have those two little boxes. One we put an apple core in, the other one we put a piece of paper in. Those are called compost boxes. We're watching those two items decompose. How decomposition works is, let's say it's out in the ground and someone throws an apple core on the ground. Worms and bugs come along and they eat on it. And their little bodies process it and poop it out. And that goes back into the soil, and it provides really rich nutrients for that soil. Okay? And so compost is just simply dead and decaying matter that gets broken down, and then it provides nutrients to the soil, which in turn makes the plants healthier. So that's what compost means. If you have any other questions or still aren't really sure, go ahead and ask me about it. But hopefully this definition in this picture will help you understand what that word means. Okay, our sixth word for today is called consumer. And a consumer is an organism that receives energy by eating other organisms. So today, I'm an organism. I'm a human. I'm a living thing. And I receive energy from eating other things. So today at lunch I had those chicken nuggets and I had those mashed potatoes and gravy. Those foods, the meat and the plant, provided energy to me. So therefore, I'm the consumer. Okay? So I'm the consumer. I'm an organism that consumes other food for energy. So if our word is consumer, can you think of an opposite word that might be our seventh word? Okay, the opposite of a consumer is a producer. And a producer just means that it's an organism that makes its own food. So we sometimes think of food manufacturers as producers. We also know that when we go to our grocery store, what do we call the area where the fruits and vegetables are? So we call it the produce, okay? Because the fruits and vegetables, it produces its own food. So a plant is a producer because it makes its own food. And then it also it produces the food that the consumer eats, like the worm or the bees or whatever, the bugs that come and eat on it. So that's your difference between a consumer and a producer. Our next word we're going to talk about is actually the food chain itself. And that's just a sequence that traces food energy. Okay, a food chain just starts here, ends here, and it just shows the trickle along of energy from the sun all the way to the lowest form. Nothing really more than that. It's just the sequence of that traces the food through it's the sequence that traces food energy. So sorry about that. Okay. So number 8 was food chain. Now we're going to get into a little more complicated. Number 9 is your actual food web. And the food web is a system of overlapping and connecting food chains in an ecosystem. So let's say the sun, of course, provides the energy to the plant, the grass. The rabbit eats the grass, okay? And then a fox might eat the rabbit and a wolf might eat the rabbit. So it's not exactly in a very neat chain. However, it is still kind of connected. So your actual definition is a system of overlapping and it connects food chains in an ecosystem. And here's a picture of a food web. Number 10 is nutrient. And nutrient just means it's a substance needed by an organism to grow and survive. So we always say, hey, you need to eat your banana because it's got the nutrients you need. Eat your apple, it's got the nutrients you need. Eat your fruits and vegetables, it's got all the nutrients you need. That is, a nutrient is just what is provided in the food source to help you grow and to survive. Okay, if someone doesn't get all the vitamins that they need and the nutrients, then they won't grow to be the full size that they could. They'll be very malnourished. Okay, so nutrients are just those things that you need to continue growing and surviving. Without them, you will die. Number 11 we're going to talk about is predator. And that's an animal that hunts other animals for food. So a predator can be any animal that goes out and hunts any other animal. It can also be humans. We fish, we hunt, okay? We go out and we catch our food. We're predators. Lions are predators. Bears are predators. Tigers are predators, okay? Is a giraffe a predator? Sure, in the way that it eats plants. But it's not a predator in the sense that it goes out and it hunts down meat, okay? So the opposite of a predator would be what? The prey. And that's our next word. So a prey, number 12, is an animal that is hunted and eaten by a predator. So your prey is your animal that is actually hunted. Okay, so if a fox is chasing a rabbit, the fox is the predator, the rabbit is the prey. I'm human. I don't like fish, but if I did like fish and I was a fisherman, I would be the predator in catching the fish, and the fish would be my prey. Okay? I do like cows, but I don't go out and actually kill them. I buy the meat at the store. Same with my bacon. But I'm the predator because I want to eat that meat. And luckily, I'm able to buy meat that's already been hunted and killed and processed. So, all right, our next word. Okay, our next word, number 13, is scavenger. And a scavenger is an animal that feeds on the remains of dead animals or garbage. So any animal that you see, raccoon comes to mind. A raccoon is a scavenger. Or rats. They're the animals that are nasty and they're always rummaging through trash, or they're eating off dead animals that other animals have already fed on and left behind. A lot of times we see it, like if I see it when I'm driving down like a country road and I see a bunch of buzzards swarming around in circles. What they're doing is they're looking for an animal that's already died and has started decaying, and they go and they feed on that. So scavengers aren't really hunters. They're not really predators. They're not hunting live animals. They wait till it's been dead, probably eaten on already by something else, and then now it's going to go find the food. Okay? I like to think of them as lazy animals because they're not really the hunters. And then also they're the ones that go and dig through your garbage. Raccoons, if you remember the movie Ratatouille, okay, those rats are always eating out of garbage. Okay, for our next word, primary consumer, I'm going to try to draw a little picture here. Primary consumer means an organism in a food chain that eats plants. So I'm going to draw a flower, okay, and put our stem down here, okay, and a primary consumer is anything that feeds on the plants. So I know when I go out to my garden and I look at my tomato plants, sometimes I see caterpillars or worms on there. So I'm going to try to draw a worm, okay, or a caterpillar, something with legs, okay. So this would be my primary consumer. This guy is eating my leaf. He's the primary consumer. This is going to take us to our very next word. Our next word, and I did it different colors so you can see, 16 is secondary consumer, okay? A secondary consumer means that this is the organism that in the food chain will come along and eat the primary consumer. So what do you think would come along and maybe eat this worm or this caterpillar? Probably a bird. So, here, because I have no imagination. This is a bird, and we're just going to point to the caterpillar because I know that bird's going to eat that caterpillar. That's what a secondary consumer is. So if we've already talked about a primary, which is this guy eating the plant, the secondary is the bird that comes along and eats the worm. Our third word in this series is, I'm laughing because I can't pronounce it, just let me stop. Okay, our last word is tertiary. Tertiary consumer. I don't know. Tertiary consumer. I can spell it, but I can't say it. Anyway, this is the organism in the food chain that comes along and eats the secondary food. The secondary consumer. So, plant, worm is the primary consumer, bird is the secondary consumer, and what do you think eats birds? We could say a fox, okay, or a wolf, or, oh Lord, here we go. It's gonna look like a cat probably. It's supposed to be a wolf. Let's see. I don't know. Okay, I'm just gonna write wolf. Hopefully the pictures that I put in here will help you out. So, anyway, so that is our last word. This is our food web, food chain vocabulary. If you have any questions on any of these words, please let me know. I think the main words you really need to know are prey, predator, producer, consumer, food web, food chain. Your omnivore, carnivore, and herbivores, those are your different types of eaters. Meat eater, plant eater, or both. So if you have any questions, just don't forget to ask. And if you aren't sure, you can always go back and watch this video again. All right, have a good day. Thanks, bye.